So, who was Alexander Graham Bell? The New York Times best-selling series. Alexander Graham Bell, the famous inventor of the telephone. This book, by Bonnie Bader, is one of a larger series of Who Was books, which highlights the life of Alexander Graham Bell. Now, speaking of an organization and the relevancy of so Who was Alexander Graham Bell uses an organizational method of chronology to display and highlight the most important parts of Alexander Graham Bell's life and his accomplishments. So if we see here, let's open it to the prologue. Have Who was Alexander Graham Bell? And it gives you a small excerpt about the beginning of his life, around 11 years old, and his idea for an invention. As you see the key illustrations there, and they're almost on every page. Um, and then chapter 1, after the prologue, begins his birth. And from there, let's see, chapter 2, the turning point in his life. Each page has their illustrations growing up. Chapter 3 and 4, as he's growing up, endings and beginnings. Talking about his grandfather dying, their move to Canada. So the new direction in his life and his focus instead of teaching or instructing like his father wanted to. So it goes through his life, and I see all the way to his death at the end. And beginning with the precursor all the way to the death shows the organizational method of the chronology. It does have the specific style where it does introduce key facts. It doesn't waterlog the students. It is meant for a younger audience, I believe. I don't remember the Lexile level, but it is intended for grades between 3 and 5, and certain instances to 6 to 8, depending on the focus. It does have a lot of complementary literary devices, like the assonance used here. Let's see. So, in talking about his growing up, they wanted him to be a teacher. They wanted him to learn the piano, and they wanted him to learn how to, basically, his parents go on to a university and teach as his father and grandfather had done, men of science. But here it says he dragged the boy into the living room where Melville his father discussed science with friends. For Alec, it was boring, boring, boring. It plays the idea that the standard schooling, and it helps illustrate that the life that they wanted to live was just not something that he liked at all. Um, so the design, I've showed you a few pictures here. We have some other excerpts here where it tells you about Thomas Watson, the man that was helping, and then we have each illustration plays a key part to help visualize parts of the story. So there it uses a good social studies element there of a map, and then there's another information, the telegraph, which was kind of like an early telephone. With regards to accuracy and authenticity, the author herself has illustrated many books in the Buzz series, and has a hand in multiple published informational texts as well, historical texts. And the series itself, and this was taken directly from their website, the hard-working Who headquarters team of authors, editors, illustrators, designers, and fact-checkers strive to bring you the very best books about the most interesting topics, as per their website. And then doing a simple fact check just on my own, a lot of the simple facts that's presented here in this book are the same. And even the children's sites that kids would go on to enrichment uh, list the same facts as well. So just a small scratching the surface, it seems to be legitimate and authentic. And this book, I would definitely recommend it, and recommend it to my colleagues in the future. It's a great book. I love it. I loved reading it. I learned a lot. This book was actually recommended me by my wife and her colleagues prior to this critical assignment. And if I have a third or fifth grade classroom, I'm definitely going to have this classroom. So, thank you.